W.R. Strong, once called the Queen of Walnuts and Flood Control Systems. That is indeed a heady combination, but Miss Strong was certainly an interesting, multifaceted, and truly outstanding individual. She also demonstrated, more than most, the ability to survive and thrive in spite of adversity. Harriet Strong began life in Buffalo, New York on July 23, 1844, and became a Californian in 1852 when her parents, Henry and Mary Russell, and three other sisters moved to Plumas County near Quincy, about 228 miles northeast of San Francisco. During 1858 to 1860, Harriet was privately educated at the Young Ladies' Seminary in Benicia, about 38 miles northeast of San Francisco. In 1861, Harriet's father was lured by the discovery of silver in Nevada and moved the family to Carson City, about 216 miles northeast of San Francisco. While in Carson City, Harriet met and married in 1863 Charles Lyman Strong, who was superintendent for the Gold and Curry Mining Company in Virginia City, about 15 miles northeast of Carson City. They eventually had 4 daughters, born between the years of 1864 and 1873. However, in 1864, Charles suffered some type of breakdown and resigned his position with the mine. He received treatment for his medical psychological condition in California. Harriet also had health problems, a spinal disorder, and this was not sufficiently healed until over 20 years later. Charles was not able to work again until 1865 and took a job exploring and examining mines along the Pacific coast of California. Apparently, this type of work took its toll, and Charles indicated to Harriet in 1867 that, "I wish I might never hear of another mine." It was in 1867 that the Strong family relocated to Rancho del Fuerte, Strong Ranch in Spanish, a 220-acre property that Charles and Harriet Strong and Harriet's brother, William Henry Russell, had purchased from the last Mexican governor of California, Don Pio Pico. Russell and Strong had planned to farm the land, which was located about where the city of Whittier, 20 miles southeast of Los Angeles, is presently found. Yet, even though there were some orange trees, irrigating their crops in the desert-like region was unsuccessful. Also, Charles became bored with the venture, hence the farm proved a failure, and Charles Strong re-entered the mining business once more. Charles found work in various places, Nevada, Arizona, and California, leaving Harriet and the kids at Rancho del Fuerte. His frequent absences, along with illness, put quite a great strain on their marriage. Finally, Harriet wrote, "I have always dreamed and wished and prayed for the wealth of human love which belongs to a good woman. It was mine for a few months only. Why no longer I shall never know in this world. To think that I, who have been loved always, should live an unloved wife." In 1882, Charles invested in a gold mine that had been salted. Gold had been placed inside the mine to falsely augment its worth. This was a major financial loss, and Charles felt that life was not worth living if he could not be successful. Sadly, Charles killed himself in 1883, and this left Harriet a widow at 39 with 4 daughters to care for. Harriet received the news while visiting a famous neurologist in Philadelphia, and she remained in his clinic for 6 months, becoming completely restored to health. Strengthened in body and spirit, she returned to Rancho del Fuerte, ready to do what was necessary to have her remaining family survive. Harriet determined to make the ranch successful. She started reading various scientific books and learning from the ranchers in the surrounding area. She said of this time, "I had the courage of ignorance and plenty of determination to back it up." It was actually on October 7, 1884, that Harriet filed a patent for her first invention, a device for raising and lowering windows. It was a window pole. She conceived the idea while suffering in bed from her spinal problems. She couldn't just rest, and her mind was very active. By November 4, 1884, Harriet filed a patent for hook and eye. The hook and the eye were formed from a single piece of wire. By November 16, 1884, she filed a window sash holder, an improved way to hold a window in its sash. Yet Harriet conceived her fourth and most important invention, dam and reservoir construction, U.S. Patent 374378. In this patent, she defined a system of dams built one behind the other such that the water of a lower dam would support the front of the next upper dam. This allowed constructing the upper dams with less strength and provided a method to create water storage in the long canyons found in Southern California. Rain certainly did occur in that part of the state, but it often ran off to the ocean in a matter of hours. Placing dams in canyons was a simple, practical, and fairly inexpensive solution. It was 10 years later that Harriet filed on her fifth and last invention, method and means for impounding debris and storing water. In this invention, water from a mine runs down through a series of dams, each positioned such that the water of the one below helps support the face of the dam behind. In addition, debris from the mine collects against the face of the dams in order to strengthen it. Hence, not only is water retained and separated from debris with cleanest water at the dam below, debris is stored and helps construct the dam. Furthermore, having the water support the previous dam's face reduces cost. Harriet used this approach described in her fourth invention to create water storage for what she had determined to be the most profitable crop, walnuts. This tree required quite a bit of water, almost 5 gallons for each walnut. Nevertheless, so good were her irrigation and farming methods, her initial 150 acres of walnuts had a yield of $295 per acre, considered excellent in that area. This would be about $8,000 per acre in today's money. Hence, by 1895, Harriet became known as the Walnut Queen of Whittier. However, she also planted other crops, pecans, chestnuts, figs, olives, oranges, and lemons, and these too did very well. Finally, by 1911, she was considered a very successful farmer and had become one of the largest taxpayers in the region. Harriet learned from the status quo but did not always follow it. Most people in the area would plant corn between the walnut trees, but Harriet planted decorative pampas grass. She was able to easily sell this crop, both in the United States and abroad. It was even used for decorations at Republican and Democratic conventions. Amazingly, over 130,000 of Harriet's pampas grass plumes were sold at Wanamaker's, one of the leading department stores in Philadelphia. However, it was at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition that Harriet achieved national acclaim when she won several awards. One of the exposition's exhibits was the Plume Palace, also called the Pampas Palace. Strong designed this palace, and it featured pampas grass inside and out of a Moorish-style edifice. Yet Harriet's 2 patents regarding dams and reservoirs won national acclaim and awards as well. She also won 2 medals for them at the World's Columbian Exposition. Some have indicated the principles of these 2 patents were used to construct the Hoover Dam, but this is not certain. While at the World's Columbian Exposition, Harriet Strong also addressed a women's congress. She told of her situation 10 years before when she assumed control of the ranch without any preparation and direct business knowledge. On a different occasion, she indicated that business is a man's world, and further said it is quite possible for every gentlewoman to make herself familiar with business methods, papers, etc., to prepare herself for any and all emergencies, so that if the head of the house be removed, the home that he has established may be kept intact, may be preserved on its financial basis. The year 1893 was further eventful in that Harriet Strong became one of the first 2 women elected to the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce. In 1918, Harriet became the first female delegate to the Chamber of Commerce of the United States. She represented Whittier and the other Los Angeles chambers. Harriet Strong firmly believed that women should be able to vote, and she was a member of the National American Women's Suffrage Association. In fact, Strong sometimes spoke at the same program as Susan B. Anthony, and Miss Anthony visited Harriet's ranch in 1895. California women were given the right to vote in 1911, and Harriet said, "How illogical it is that women of America should have no citizenship and no legal place or position, save in the matter of obedience to law subjection to its penalties. In 1897, Harriet drilled several artesian wells on her property. She then purchased 1,000 acres of land about 5 miles away and created a pumping plant she called the Paso de Bartolo Water Company, of which she was the president. The operation did so well that she was able to sell it in just 4 years, making quite a large profit. In 1905, Strong wrote a paper advocating flood control districts, dams, and water storage reservoirs as described in her patent. In July 1914, she had an article, Source Conservation, published in the Women's Citizen, and again appealed for dams and water storage reservoirs in the Southern California canyons. She was convinced that such constructions would prevent floods, assuage drought, and generate electricity. It is too bad that California did not heed her advice as of 2019. In July of 1914, Southern California had just experienced massive rains and flooding, and the situation, possibly along with Harriet's articles, caused the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors to convene a meeting with many civic leaders, including Strong. The result was the Los Angeles County Flood Control Association, and Harriet Strong was credited with helping generate legislation for flood control. Yet Harriet Strong had other talents and interests. She demonstrated significant abilities as a musical composer and published several songs and a book of musical sketches. She was also the vice president of the Los Angeles Symphony Orchestra Association. Furthermore, Harriet founded a women's club called Ebell of Los Angeles, still exists today, and was president for 3 consecutive terms. In 1918, Harriet Strong made an appearance at the Congressional Committee on Water Power and asked the government to store Colorado River floodwaters by using her dam and reservoir patent. Unfortunately, this never came to full fruition. She also took on the project of preserving Pio Pico adobe. After a long and eventful life, Harriet Strong died on September 6, 1926, in an automobile accident. She was 82 years of age, and throughout her life had shown herself to be not only a good person, but a resourceful and inventive one as well. In fact, Harriet W.R. Strong was truly a Renaissance woman, and that pretty much says it all.